When you run kubectl, apply ffile.yaml in your AWS-hosted Kubernetes K8s cluster, the following sequence of events occurs within Kubernetes. 1. Kubectl sends the manifest to the API server. Kubectl reads your YAML file and sends a declarative request to the Kubernetes API server, running on the control plane. The request is usually an HTTP patch or post depending on whether the resource already exists. API server authenticates and validates. The API server authenticates you via IAM, kubeconfig, etc. Authorizes the request via RABAC or ABAC. Validates the schema of your YAML manifest, for example, is it a valid deployment? Are required fields present? 3. API server stores the desired state in ETG. Once validated, the API server updates the ETT database with your manifest as the new desired state of the cluster. ETT is the source of truth for all cluster objects. Pod 4. Controller manager reconciles desired versus actual state. Relevant controllers, for example, deployment controller, replica set controller, watch the ETT for changes. When they see the new desired state, they start reconciling it with the actual cluster state. For example, if you apply a deployment with 3 replicas, the deployment controller creates a replica set. The replica set controller creates 3 pods by 5. Scheduler assigns pods to nodes. For each unscheduled pod, the scheduler finds a suitable node, based on CPU, memory, affinity, etc. It binds the pod to that node. 6. Kubelet on node creates pods. The kubelet on the chosen node notices the new pod scheduled to it. It pulls container images, if needed. Creates containers using the container runtime, for example, Containerd or Docker. Starts the pod and reports status back to the API server. Part 7. Services, ingress, etc. get configured, if included. If your manifest includes service or ingress, the kube proxy configures networking rules on nodes. The ingress controller, like nginx or ALB on AWS, sets up external routing. Summary diagram, logical flow. Kubectl apply API server ETT controller scheduler kubelet container runtime. If you want to see this flow in action, you can use Kubectl describe deployment your deployment. Kubectl get events sort by =metadata.creation timestamp.